Fox Sports.
We are Black Force. We are Arizona.
Another hot, muggy, overcast day here in Philadelphia, where today the D-backs need a win to avoid getting swept by the Phillies for the first time in nearly 5 years. Arizona Diamondbacks baseball is brought to you by Sanderson Ford. The offense clicking last night for the Diamondbacks. 5 runs on 10 hits, including a pair of homers. And the Big Bats are back in there this afternoon here on Fox Sports Arizona. And good morning from Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Welcome to the broadcast. Stephen Berthiaume and Bob Brenly along the way. The series finale here. The Diamondbacks and the Phillies. D-backs had a couple of home runs in last night's ball game, including one from Paul Goldschmidt, his 10th of the year. And Bob, we've seen Goldie this year much more aggressive on the first pitch in some of his at-bats.
Well, we mentioned it in the telecast last night. Goldie was very patient last year. He didn't swing at a lot of first pitches, but this year he's been a lot more aggressive. The numbers were great last year, but they're even better so far this year. 6 home runs on the first pitch he sees in an at-bat.
Your pitching matchup this afternoon here in Philadelphia, morning back home in Arizona. Sean O'Sullivan for the Phillies and Josh Collmenter for the Diamondbacks. The key for Josh this afternoon?
Well, keep the ball in the ballpark for one thing. We know he likes to elevate that fastball. He needs to get it up above the area where the Phillies can do damage. Otherwise, keep the ball down. Up and down, stay out of the middle.
Yeah, you see Josh only 1 homer allowed in his first 5 starts, but 5 in his last 2. So it's Collmenter and O'Sullivan, the Diamondbacks and the Phillies, as we try and salvage the series finale before it's off to Miami for 4 against the Marlins starting tomorrow. Great balls of fire. A little bit of everything in this series so far. Diamondbacks a chance to steal the finale here and head off down south to Florida. First pitch is next on Fox Sports Arizona. is brought to you in part by Cox Gigablast. How will you live the gig life? By Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Jack in the Box. Jack's hottest sandwich is back. Head to Jack in the Box for Jack's Blazing Chicken Sandwich. Well, that's a live look at downtown Philadelphia. We're just a couple of miles outside downtown, and you can see on the left of your screen there is weather in the area. What else is new? It's a Diamondback road game this year. We've been fighting the elements, it seems, all season long. We're hopeful we'll get this one in. The forecast is a little better than it was last night when he had that hour and 17-minute rain delay. But the Diamondbacks focused on getting this series finale, in danger today of getting swept by the Phillies for the first time since July of 2010. D-backs have lost 3 straight, 6 of their last 8, and are now 5 games below 500 for the season, a record of 15-20. And they'll turn to Josh Collmenter. And Bob, you mentioned in the open, for a guy that's given up 5 homers in his last 2 starts, this is not a great ballpark in which to pitch.
This is a hitter's paradise here at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Ball was really jumping during optional batting practice today, and as we mentioned in the open, Josh has to be above the strike zone or below the strike zone, has to stay out of the middle with that fastball.
And it is muggy summer-like weather here on an early afternoon in the middle of May. And Sean O'Sullivan is on the mound for the Phillies, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for Philadelphia. The 27-year-old right-hander, his 4th start this year. He last worked on Tuesday in a loss here against Pittsburgh. That was his first big league action in nearly a month. He had a stint on the DL in the middle of April, missed 3 starts with left knee tendonitis, but he's back here this afternoon.
Looking to snap a career-long 9-game losing streak. He hasn't won since this day back in 2011. 4-seamer, slider, 2-seam sinking fastball, and a straight changeup, the usual arsenal.
Yeah, he last won a game in the major leagues pitching for the Royals at Yankee Stadium. And it's been a while for Sean O'Sullivan. The lineup for Chip Hale's Arizona Diamondbacks.
Today we'll have Ender Inciarte in left field, Mark Trumbo over in right, Paul Goldschmidt at first base, A.J. Pollock cleaning up playing center field, Yasmani Tomas with his first major league homer in the ballgame last night. He'll be at third base. Aaron Hill at second base today. Chris Owings moves over to shortstop. Jordan Pacheco doing the catching for right-hander Josh Collmenter.
Ender Inciarte set to lead it off. Mike Everett is our plate umpire. We are underway on a Sunday afternoon in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Ender batting .321. He had 3 hits in Friday's series opener. 1 for 5 last night. He's hitting 5 straight. A muggy 82 degrees at first pitch. This is in the air to left field. Ben Revere backing up, still backing up, and he's got it right in front of the warning track for the first outs. Let's take a look at the Phillies defensively. It's our Mid-First Bank starting defense.
Killer bees in there for Ryan Sandberg today. They're going to feature an outfield of Revere, Herrera, and Sizemore left to right. The infield would be Franco, Hernandez, Blanco, and Ruff. Doing the catching, Cameron Rupp. And on the mound, Sean O'Sullivan. Now, you've got over 500 pounds of battery right there. 253 pounds for O'Sullivan, 258 for the catcher.
Well, in at 6'4", 235 is Mark Trumbo back at the 2-hole. Some big boys out there today. Trumbo quickly down, no balls and 2 strikes, hitting .281 on the year. 6 homers and 19 RBIs. Reaches out and lifts this one foul just behind the Phillies dugout. It's out of play. Mark last night 1 for 4, a pair of strikeouts. 3 strikeouts and 5 at bats in the series. The way he's hit the ball, keep waiting for him to launch one here in this ballpark, and this is the day for it. A lot of humidity in the air. This is inside. It's 1-2.
Now, there were a lot of long homers hit during optional batting practice today. I was out having my daily Tony Lukes, standing out there watching the Diamondbacks hit, and was interrupted a couple times by some home run balls.
Yeah, they have that area out in left center field where you can stand and eat your Tony Lukes. Lots of napkins. There they are right there. That's where we were all weekend long. Once again, they're going to roll me out of here. It's between the donuts and the Tony Lukes and the whole thing. It's the Turkey Hill ice cream, this place. Oh. A caloric catastrophe in Philadelphia. 3-2. But Mark red hot right now. 5 homers, 13 RBIs in his last 15 games. Tony Lukes, for our money, the best cheesesteak in the city. At bat right there by Trumbo, down 0-2, and he works a 1-out walk, and here comes Goldie.
Outstanding at bat, falling behind the way he did, laying off some borderline pitches, fouling off a couple of others, and ultimately takes that base on balls. Always good to have runners on in front of Goldie.
And remember what we talked about in the open. Watch Goldie on the first pitch. He has put the first pitch in an at bat into play 18 times this year, and he's got 10 hits, including 6 home runs. That's in there for strike 1. Paul Goldschmidt batting .341. That is 5th in the National League, just behind the Phillies' Freddie Galvis, who's not in the starting lineup today. Lights are on here at the ballpark. Dark and overcast. 0-2. This was Goldie. This one, Bob, as you mentioned last night, almost brought some rain.
I mean, he hit that ball straight up in the air. I didn't think there was any way he hit it hard enough to get it out of here to left field, but it cleared the fence in left field easily. Tremendous hang time.
A home run last night is 4th in 14 career games in this ballpark. Sullivan bounces that one. Cameron Rupp behind the plate. This was the catch on the foul ball a moment ago.
That one before.
Nice range.
Dude.
Easy, easy.
This is in the air toward the right field corner. Grady Sizemore's out there. And that's the second out. AJ Pollock in the cleanup spot here this afternoon. AJ now at .294 and 3 homers.
There aren't too many players in the major leagues that go from leadoff man at the beginning of the season to cleanup hitter in the middle of May.
It's amazing, isn't it? He's batted leadoff. He's batted in the 2-hole a lot, and lately with Trumbo in the second spot, batting cleanup. First pitch swinging. Another fly ball out to Sizemore and right. And Sean O'Sullivan strands the 1-out walk. We are underway on a hot and humid day in Philadelphia. Into this series, averaging only 2.8 runs per game this year, the worst in the major leagues. But the Phils, a season high 7 runs last night. They scored 4 on Friday. And they're trying to win their 5th straight here this afternoon against your Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the Diamondbacks. It's Josh Collmenter. 3-4 on the year. His ERA before his previous start was under 3.5, but after the loss to Washington, Bob, it's up to 5.27.
Yeah, it'll take a while to whittle that back down. Of course, being a starting pitcher now, he's got a much better chance to do that if he can work deep into some ball games and put zeros on the board.
Ben Revere leads it off for the Phillies. Yasmani Tomas in on the grass at third. Revere 241. He is 0 for 5 in the series. Revere has started games at all 3 outfield spots this year. Swing and a miss. Collmenter ahead 1-2. He's coming off another relatively slow April. Ben Revere's career average in April is under 240. But from May 1st on, he's a career 295 hitter. So he's starting to heat up. And he belts it into right, a base hit. Well, Ben Revere last year led the National League in hits, and he's aboard to open up the ball game for Philadelphia. This is the lineup for Ryne Sandberg's Phillies.
Now we've seen Ben Revere at the top. He'll be out in left field. Andres Blanco making his way to the plate now. He'll be the second baseman. Grady Sizemore out in right. Darren Ruff at first base. Maikel Franco at third base. Let me see which Hernandez. Cesar Hernandez at shortstop. Odubel Herrera in center field. Cameron Rupp doing the catching, and Sean O'Sullivan, the righty, on the mound.
Andres Blanco getting the start at second base. Chase Utley has the day off. That lineup you just saw for the Phillies has produced a total of 3 home runs all season long. So if you're trying to keep it in the ballpark, this is the lineup against which to do that.
Maybe not a lot of thunder in Ryne Sandberg's lineup today, but they do have a considerable amount of speed and some guys that can run the bases. Ben Revere leads the Phillies with 6 stolen bases on the season.
Blanco just under 300, only 27 at bats this year. Had an RBI double as a pinch hitter in last night's ball game. And you do, as Bob mentioned, have to keep an eye on Revere. Last year he stole 49 bases. And they'll keep him close. Tomas again in on the grass at third, guarding against a bunt from the switch hitting Blanco. He's about a 255 hitter from the left-hand side for his career. A little flare to left center field. Pollock coming over. And he's got it for the first out. Take a look at the Diamondbacks around Josh Collmenter. It's our MidFirst Bank starting defense.
Ender Inciarte out in left field. A.J. Pollock just made the play in center field. Mark Trumbo over in right. It'll be Tomas and Owings on the left side of the infield today, with Aaron Hill and Paul Goldschmidt on the right side. Jordan Pacheco getting a start behind the plate today for right-hander Josh Collmenter.
Well, here's a guy that had a big night last night, Grady Sizemore. 275 this year. Back on April 28th, Sizemore was hitting 125 for the season. But he's hit better than 400 over his last 14 games. And had a 4-hit night last night. In fact, Sizemore, just last night alone, raised his average for the year by more than 40 points. His first 4-hit game since 2008. There goes Revere. And he's in there. 7th stolen base of the year for Ben Revere.
You would expect a lot of this from the Phillies today. As I mentioned, they do have some speed in this Killer B lineup. Ben Revere as fast as they get over there on that first base side of the field.
Well, he's all about the base. No trouble. They just played it on the PA. Stole it from them. 1-0 to Sizemore. I don't know. Right to Goldie. He'll take it himself. Revere now on third with 2 outs, and Darren Ruff coming up.
While we have a moment here, let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game today. No souvenirs from Josh Collmenter. Keep the ball in the ballpark. And if he can mind the gap, mind the split between his fastball and his off-speed pitches, and make sure there's that 8 to 10 mile an hour gap in those pitches, he should be able to keep the ball in the ballpark.
Well, this is a guy who can hit it out. Big Darren Ruff hitting just under a .190 on the year. Does have a couple of home runs. And making his 6th start at first base this season. Another big dude in this lineup. 6'3", 250 for Ruff. I should call this guy the Mountain. But just 3 hits in his last 26 at bats. That's in there for a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, looking at Collmenter already in this ball game today. Granted, it's early, but his fastball has been 82 to 84. His changeup has been 72 to 74. That's the split you like to see, 8 to 10 miles per hour. Any slower than that, and the hitter might be able to make an adjustment and still put the ball in play. Any faster than that, and you won't fool him with your off-speed stuff.
Well, it was a rough go of it last time out for Josh. He had never allowed more than 6 runs in a game. Had never pitched fewer than 2 1/3 innings in a start, but against the Nationals Monday, gave up a career-high 9 runs, retired only 4 batters, gave up 2 homers in the first inning of that ball game, and just could not recover. Looking for a bounce-back start here, not only for himself, but to help out a tired bullpen that's had to work a lot in this series so far. The numbers Monday against the Nats.
And we know Josh stayed until the very end of the ball game last night. It's customary to send the next day's starting pitcher on back to the hotel if it's a day game after a night game. And as Ruff draws the walk, Chip and Mike Harkey gave Josh Collmenter the option. Do you want to go on back to the hotel, get a good night's sleep before the day game? He said, I'd rather stay here in case you need me in extra innings.
And they almost did. Maikel Franco now, the rookie. They're on the corners with 2 outs for Franco. 1 for 8 so far after his recall from the minor leagues on Friday. And when he was called up, he was leading the International League in hits and RBIs. Ball 1. Franco, some big league comparisons have been made here. You hear some names like Adrian Beltre or Miguel Tejada. Good combination of real power at the plate and a solid glove at third. It's this up in the air left center field. Inciarte and Pollock out there. Ender is underneath it. And Josh Collmenter strands 2. We are through 1 in Philly. No score. The Diamondbacks and the Philadelphia Phils. cheesesteak, log on to foxsportsarizona.com/beattheheat and enter the word cheesesteak for your chance to win a trip to San Diego for the July 4th weekend. Throughout May, we'll give you a word of the day every game. Once you see it, go to foxsportsarizona.com/beattheheat and enter that word. The more times you enter, the better your chances to win. For more information, visit foxsportsarizona.com.
The password is cheesesteak.
That's the password every day.
It has been all weekend, I can tell you that. You're cranking them out there in center field. Tony Lukes. Got to get over to Hungry Hill when we get back home.
Yeah.
Try theirs. Although after this weekend, BB, I'm not sure I can eat a cheesesteak for a while here.
Sure you can.
I've been hooked up to a cheesesteak IV for 3 days.
Only took it out long enough to put the donut IV in.
Federal Donuts, baby. Oh. Tomas bangs it into left, a base hit. Yasmani Tomas after his first big league homer last night. As a base hit to left to lead off the second against Sean O'Sullivan. First hit today for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah, Tomas nearly had 2 home runs in the ball game last night. Pulled the ball to left field that banged high off the fence before homering to right field later in the ball game. We're starting to see more of that when he gets off-speed pitches in the strike zone. Early in the season, it looked like he was making such an effort to force that ball into right field, but now if he gets an off-speed pitch hanging over the middle of the plate, he bangs it into left.
Aaron Hill, 280 and 3 home runs. Starting to feel better after a bout with the stomach bug here this weekend. And he looks at strike one. He flied out in a pinch hit appearance last night. And his bat has really come around. Chris Owings red hot right now. Tomas is hitting. You can see the numbers last 10 games over 460. Rolled in the hole and into right. A base hit for Aaron Hill. Tomas will stop at second. A pair of singles lead off the Diamondbacks second.
Extremely well placed that time by Aaron Hill. He's probably a little upset with himself for getting jammed on a ball he should have done more with, but hey, the results are good. Gets it past a diving Andres Blanco at second base, putting D-backs at first and second with nobody out.
And Chris Owings up there, who has just been peppering line drives all over the field lately. 270 with 2 homers. The batting average for CO has come up 65 points in the last 9 games.
What's wrong with this picture, partner?
What do you got?
Tomas pulled the ball and Aaron Hill hit it to the opposite field.
It's a world gone mad.
We're upside down today.
We sure are. Well, Owings has now hit safely in 5 straight, 8 of his last 9. Look at these numbers. Had a pair of hits in the series opener, 3 hits in last night's ball game. Tomas at second, Hill at first, nobody out. Lifted in the air to left center field. Odubel Herrera coming in. And that's the first out here in the second.
Boy, I've been giving you the individual numbers. A lot of guys have really picked it up offensively lately. And as a team, you look at the first 19 games, the Diamondbacks hit 11 home runs. In their last 16 games, they've doubled that. They've hit 22 in 3 fewer games. 21 more extra base hits, 19 more runs. I mean, across the board, top to bottom, the team is swinging the bats much better lately.
Jordan Pacheco, 238, a pair of homers. And so far against O'Sullivan, they're getting the ball up in the air. That's what you want in this ballpark, especially on a hot day. All 4 outs so far are fly ball outs.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 5 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
In there for a strike, and Pacheco's behind 0-2. Sean O'Sullivan talked about Jerome Williams and his long journey last night. O'Sullivan here this afternoon, another guy that's been around the block a few times trying to hang on. Over the last 3 seasons, he's appeared in 13 games in the big leagues, 8 of them starts, and is winless, 0-5, an ERA near 5. And he admits he's not 21 anymore. He'll be 28 in September. And you only get to play this game for so long, he says, so every year he puts more and more pressure on himself to succeed. But he's shown the Phillies something here so far this spring. He's had some opportunities, and he's still out there punching. He's not won a game as a starting pitcher in almost 4 years. One and two on Jordan Pacheco. You see Cameron Rupp behind the plate. Carlos Ruiz getting the day off today. Rupp has been a very good defensive catcher back there. He's got a good arm. Has a good track record throwing out attempted base stealers. The bat has not come around like they'd hope, but he's solid back there defensively, especially for a big guy.
Yeah, you get the feeling Cameron Rupp was really upset when they changed the rules about blocking home plate. He looks like the guy that would love to block the plate on a runner.
Bounce to Franco at third. Steps on the bag for the force and turns the double play. That ends the inning. Maikel Franco, the rookie, with a nice play there. No score in Philadelphia.
Back in Philadelphia, Nick Ahmed getting the day off, not in the starting lineup. I had the chance to catch up with Tony La Russa earlier today on a number of topics. One guy he talked about was Nick, said he's a championship type player. That's how we see him. He's putting in a great effort with Turner Ward and Mark Grace to find a stroke at the plate that's repeatable. They said they believe in him. They see that coming around. And one thing that was interesting, guys, he said when he got to town, he read an article on Freddie Galvis, and he used him as a great example, a guy that struggled at the plate and now is batting .347. And when people ask him how hard is it to figure it out at this level, he said it's actually tougher when you don't play. So they like the fact that Nick Ahmed is getting that playing time here in the majors.
Yeah, they have stuck by him. Saw an uncharacteristic couple of errors last night for Nick. That was unusual, but his defense has been stellar, that's for sure. Cesar Hernandez getting the start at shortstop for the Phillies here this afternoon. .254 on the year. Laces one into the right field corner. Hernandez takes the turn, and he will reach second base standing up, his third double. Guy's had a pretty good year. He's leading the Phillies in walks. He's second on the team in on base percentage, and he's had a hot bat lately.
And another ball down in that right field corner. I'm telling you, there's some kind of a gravitational pull on that right field foul pole. It's about the 10th ball we've seen hit down in that right field corner by the Phillies in this 3-game series.
Brings up the center fielder, Odubel Herrera. Hernandez aboard with a leadoff double. Herrera shows bunt. Colementor comes inside. That one got Mike Everett back there. Went through the batter and the catcher and got the umpire. Don't do that again.
Give me a minute.
I'm going to walk all the way out here with you. Ooh, right on the quadricep muscle. It looked like that's going to leave a mark.
It looked like Jordan Pacheco was anticipating contact there at the plate. Didn't even really reach across much to try to catch that ball. In his defense, from being behind the plate before, sometimes when that batter puts the bat out there to bunt, it gets in your line of vision. You can't really pick up the pitch.
Plus, it really seemed to tie Herrera up inside that time. And it got Mike Everett on the right leg. Herrera 263. He had a double in Friday night's game. Was 0 for 5 last night. And he is, as we've seen throughout this series, up there to take his cuts. He's a hacker. Got off to a good start this year. Hit over 300 in April, but he's hitting about 200 in May. And he's already struck out as many times this month as he did all of last month. Squares to bunt, drops it down. Tomaso barehanded, makes a nice play as Hernandez moves up to third. 5-3 on the sacrifice. That was well defended there by Yasmani Tomas.
Yeah, good execution by Herrera at the plate, and even better execution by Yasmani Tomas with the bare hand play. Gets a lot on that throw to Goldie just in time to get the out at first.
So Hernandez at third with one out. The infield will come in. The number 8 hitter, the catcher Cameron Rupp. 184. He's had just 11 starts behind the plate for the Phils this year. Hits it in the air to center. It backs up A.J. Pollock deep enough for Hernandez to tag and score easily. An RBI for Rupp, and it's 1-0 Phillies. Sean O'Sullivan, the pitcher.
And be careful with this guy. A couple of years ago, playing for the San Diego Padres AAA affiliate down in Tucson, he hit .351 with a homer and 13 driven in. Was 4 for 9 as a pinch hitter.
From Grossmont College in California, third-round pick by the Angels back in 2005.
Tell you, this Phillies team looks like a bunch of lumberjacks. All big burly guys, all wearing beards. Big barrel chest.
Well, they did have the Mountain from Game of Thrones out here taking batting practice on Friday. He'd fit right in with these guys. 2-2. Some big boys over there for the Phils. Shoots it over first base side. Colementor covers, and they get the outs. But the Phillies get the game's first run. Hernandez, the leadoff double. He scores, and cheesesteaks for everybody. Diamondbacks down 1-0. winter is coming. 7 blessings to you all. Here is the Mountain taking batting practice. Not an artistic success. This was Friday afternoon, and no one was going to tell him that he didn't do well.
Stop while you're ahead, Thor.
The North remembers. There he is. By the way, Game of Thrones and the Mad Men series finale tonight, BB. So we need to get to Miami before that show starts.
Yeah. Hope your DVR works. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be close. And they have some mountains in this Phillies lineup, as we've mentioned. Rupp and Sullivan, the biggest battery you'll see in a long time. Cole Mentor leads off the third against Sean O'Sullivan. And this is a guy, O'Sullivan, that definitely feels like he's got an opportunity here. Phillies in a transitional stage. And he was given the opportunity, missed a month on the DL with that left knee tendonitis. And he's done all right for him. Josh Colementor knocks it the other way. Right in front of Sizemore for a leadoff single. Third hit for the Diamondbacks.
I said hurry under my breath. Anytime a pitcher gets a hard base hit into right field, those right fielders like to come up throwing. Try to get that out at first base, but Josh hit that one so hard it kind of handcuffed Grady Sizemore out there in right field.
Josh has been a hitter this year. Well, I sat in the stands during Friday's game. We didn't have TV, and a lot of Phillies fans were talking to me about Ender Inciarte, and they hate to see him doing so well for the Diamondbacks because for about 10 minutes he was a Philly. And they remember everything here in this town, baseball-wise. You go back to December of 2012, the Phillies took Ender from the Diamondbacks in the Rule 5 draft that year. He hit about .270 in spring training with the Phillies that spring. He was on their opening day roster in 2013, but did not play in their opener, and was then quickly returned to the Diamondbacks, who had originally signed Ender out of Venezuela. So he was a Philly for just a moment. No at-bats, went right back to Arizona and played that season in Mobile. But the Phillies fans here remember. Over the mound, Blanco coming in, makes a nice play to get the force on Colementor. You hear it from Philly fans. I heard it all night long Friday. Boy, it'd be nice to have this guy in the outfield. We just give guys like this away, I guess. But Ender said he's very grateful to the Phillies because he came here through the Rule 5 thing, said it was an opportunity to play with the big guys they had on their team at the time, and said it really changed his career.
Anytime you get an opportunity to be around some of the best in the game with a different organization, you know, different terminology, different views on the game, different things to impart to a young player like Ender. I'm sure he did learn quite a bit in his short time as a Philly.
He said at first he didn't feel like with the Diamondbacks he was a big priority in the organization. But when he came back from his spring with Philadelphia, he felt like he had a lot of attention on him, and the Rule 5 thing really helped.
I think there was a time earlier in his career where Ender Inciarte fancied himself as a little power hitter. And he does have some power. We've seen him juice the ball to right field on occasion, but his game is slapping it around, as we've seen this season, foul line to foul line. Try to keep the ball on the ground or on a line. Take advantage of your speed.
Three hits Friday. Ender 1 for 5 last night. Just over .320 on the year. 0-1 to Mark Trumbo. Taking a big cut there. 0-2.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code DBACKS50 at papajohns.com.
Mark walked his first time up today. There goes Inciarte. The throw from Rupp is not in time. 5th stolen base this year for Ender. Well, Rupp has demonstrated a really good throwing arm back there, so that's a stolen base of which Ender should be proud.
Yeah, just throw was up a little bit high. Down on the bag. That's a much closer play. Really good jump over there by Ender. Took a quick peek back to home plate to see what was going on there, and then a hard slide into second base.
If Blanco had kept the glove down there the whole time, they might have had him. He came off the bag. A ball and 2 strikes on Trumbo. Mark about a 300 hitter this year with runners in scoring position. Sullivan bounces that one, and it's 2-2. Sullivan first called up middle of April. The Phillies just needed a body to give him some innings while Chad Billingsley prepared to come back. But they had a couple of other guys go down, and O'Sullivan, treading water up here, has been able to hang around. He strikes out Trumbo. 2 down in the 3rd.
Challenge fastball up and in. That's a pitch I'm sure Mark would like back. We talked earlier this season how much better he is this year getting on top of the high pitches. However, that one off the inside corner is tough to catch up to.
So a runner on second and 2 outs for Goldie, who flied out his first time. And again, watch Goldie on the first pitch this year. Very aggressive. Guys on base, deadly.
O'Sullivan, his attention is split between Ender and Inciarte out there at second base, and the guy at the plate, Paul Goldschmidt. Just a friendly suggestion. You better pay attention to Goldie right here.
I was going to say, I'm no pitching coach, but I think I'd lock in on 44 up there with a big stick.
And with the base open, it wouldn't surprise me a bit to see O'Sullivan pitch around Goldie here, just not give him anything to hit. If he wants to take the walk, O'Sullivan would be glad to go after A.J. Pollock.
A.J. back in the cleanup spot today. That's in there for a strike, 1-1. Goldie, the batting average dropped to .270 back on April 25th. That was 3 weeks ago today. And since then, over his last 17 games, he's hit over .400. 13 extra base hits and 16 RBIs. Close one there. It's a ball, 2-1. Three balls and a strike. And they're just going to go ahead and not mess around with a 3-1 count. First base open and 2 outs. They'll put Goldie on and work to Pollock. Second walk of the ball game issued by Sean O'Sullivan. So first and second, 2 down for A.J., who flied out in his first at bat today.
Well, you can certainly understand the intentional walk to Goldie. He's hitting .358 this year with 2 outs in the inning. But then you roll around to A.J. Pollock, who's hitting .341 with 2 outs in an inning.
AJ hit into a double play as a pinch hitter last night. Had an RBI single in Friday's series opener. That was a big hit. It tied the game in the 7th inning. He's at 291 for the year. AJ, after hitting .320 in the first month of this season, having a .255 May, and he's already struck out more times this month than he did all of April. So the bat has slowed a bit here. He's down 0-2. AJ had a lot of folks in the seats all weekend long here from nearby Connecticut, not too far a drive. Got a lot of Pollock fans, a lot of Nick Ahmed fans who made the drive down to Philadelphia from Western Massachusetts.
It's always a mixed blessing for a major league ball player, especially a younger player. You know, you'd love to go back and play in front of friends and family, but dealing with the ticket list, and you meet grandma and your aunts and uncles for breakfast, and you meet your mom and dad for lunch before the ball game, and then hook up with your buddies after the ball game.
Runners move up, but it rolls away from Rupp. And Inciarte is in at third. Goldie at second.
Sullivan has been beating up his catcher back there in the early going. That's about the 6th breaking ball he's thrown out in front of home plate that Rupp has blocked. This one gets far enough away, however, for both runners to advance.
So the D-backs here have a chance to take the lead with just a single and 2 outs. But they'll need a big hit from A.J. Pollock here, down 1-2.
Inciarte, yeah, he was almost halfway down the line at third. Franco playing deep with 2 strikes on the hitter, trying to give himself a lot of range, and Ender just kept walking.
And he's doing it again. He's almost in the Phillies dugout. And not only is he halfway down the line, he's got a rookie Franco down there at third. He's tap dancing. There he goes again. And O'Sullivan misses inside. It's even 2 balls and 2 strikes. Take a look at Ender Inciarte at third.
Take that big lead off of third base, hoping to pull that third baseman out of position, make him cheat a little bit toward the base. That will open up the hole in the left side of the infield for AJ.
Yeah, he's got Franco, the rookie, down there, kind of going back and forth between where he's supposed to be and the bag at third. You see the gap there. Inciarte well off the third base bag. He's got Andy Green behind him. 2-2 to A.J. Pollock. Bounced in the hole. Hernandez at short, long throw. And A.J. beats it out. Inciarte scores. And the Diamondbacks tie the ball game. Here comes Ryne Sandberg. A single and an RBI for Pollock, at least for now. And again, managers have, if not been encouraged, in fact ordered to by Major League Baseball, stay in the dugout and signal if you want a challenge from the top step. Sandberg might have a decent case here, but Sandberg has gone the route we saw last year, going out there for the chat to stall for time. You're not supposed to do that. Here's one more look. Yeah, he's out.
Oh, I think he is out. Very, very close, but I think they got him. As we pointed out many times on those plays at first, the ball is considered to be in the glove when it strikes the back of the pocket.
And they're going to challenge. Sean Barber, the first base umpire. And Tim Welke, the crew chief, comes over from third. And the Phillies have challenged. This is a big one here. And As we've seen, Sandberg has a pretty good case. So we go to New York for the replay. It's another replay review brought to you by Mix One. Mix One keeping track of all the Diamondbacks challenges this year. And it looked like they got him by half a step. For the moment, an RBI single for Pollock in a 1-1 ball game, but if the Phillies win the challenge, they'll take the run off the board, and that'll end the inning.
Yeah, but I've already put it in my scorebook as an infield base hit and an RBI. Scored a run.
Call New York. We have that good here in our booth. Like they've wrapped this up. He is out at first, so take the run off the board. Take the RBI and the base hit away from Pollock, and that'll end the top of the third. Another replay review brought to you by Mix One. It stays 1-0 Phillies. To be at Chase Field, D-backs and Cubs, a 1:10 start. First 20,000 fans get this D-backs fedora courtesy of Gila River Casinos. You can get your tickets right now online at dbacks.com. Ben Revere leads off the Phillies third. They lead it 1-0. Revere single and stole the bases first time up. So Tomas in on the grass at third, always guarding against the bunt, with the speedy Ben Revere up there. That's a strike. It's 2-1. Revere, another bat in this Phillies lineup that's been coming around lately. He hit just .215 the first month of the year, but he's up to about .275 in May. And he has been a little more aggressive at home plate to give himself a chance, says Ryne Sandberg. But a patient walk there, and the leadoff man's aboard. That's the third time in 3 innings the Phillies leadoff man has reached against Josh Collmenter. Updating now after that call was overturned. Brought to you by Mix One. Diamondbacks replay reviews this year. 5 have been overturned out of the 11. Second walk issued by Collmenter. Here's Andres Blanco.
Revere with a stolen base back in that first inning after he singled to lead it off for the Phillies. I would imagine he'll be on the move again if he feels he can get a jump.
The stolen base was his 7th of the year. He's been caught 3 times. Pitch out, nothing doing.
Even though Revere was not on the move that time, I like the idea that Chip Hale shows pitch out from time to time just to let that other manager know that he's paying attention to the running game and he's not afraid to pitch out and put his pitcher in a hole. Well, there are certain pitchers you wouldn't want to do that with. You don't want to put them in an 0-1 or 1-0 hole, rather.
Double play ball here. Hill knocks it down. Owings turns two, and the Diamondbacks roll it behind Colementor and erase that leadoff walk. 4-6-3.
And Hill had a little trouble getting the ball out of the glove, but ultimately does get it to Chris Owings in plenty of time to turn it. Josh was real quickly happy after that play.
Grady Sizemore. Well, we wanted to make sure we got the replay in before the next hitter. Diamondbacks will put the overshift on now. Tomas at third, playing where the second baseman would normally be for the left-hand hitting Sizemore. Sizemore grounded out to the right side his first time up after a 4-hit night last night. Grady Sizemore said he felt like he didn't have a lot of at-bats or consistent at-bats earlier this year. They got a lot of outfielders. But the ABs have been more steady here, and Ryan Sandberg says that Sizemore just seems to be clicking right now, seems to be in a groove. Seeing the ball real good and squaring it up. He sure was last night. Lines it right to Owings at shortstop, trying to hit away from the shift. And he found the one guy that was over there. And we are through three. The Diamondbacks trail it 1-0. Here's what's next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Yasmani Tomas, a homer last night. The way you can nominate a family or nonprofit organization in the Phoenix area that's in need of a new AC by logging on to chazroberts.com/coolplay. Entries are due at the end of the month, May 31st. Yasmani Tomas leads off the fourth and skies one to left center field. Odubel Herrera coming in. He calls off Revere, and he's got it for out number one. The Fanatic, the best in the business right there. At least in the National League East. We like Baxter. But the Fanatic is well, he's just a rock star here.
He really is. His shtick never gets old.
I have been told by a somewhat reliable source that there have only been 2 Fanatics the entire time the Fanatic has existed. 2 guys in the suit. Aaron Hill.
He does a routine when they read the visiting lineup over the PA system here at the ballpark. He'll park his ATV right in front of the visiting team's dugout and do an impersonation of everybody in the lineup. And at times it can get very comical.
He rides that thing around here like he's in the Indy 500. That ATV all around the outfield. Todd Walsh's arch enemy, as we illustrated on the Diamondback Live pregame show. This is bounced to shortstop. Hernandez, pardon me, throws him out, 2 down.
I'll tell you one thing, the Fanatic, he's funny. He's one of the best in the business, has been for a long time, but I have a feeling that suit is ripe today. I mean, it was hot and muggy. It rained last night.
Well, I'm hoping that they have more than one.
I doubt if it had enough time to dry between the time we left the ballpark last night and got here again this morning. So
I got a trivia question for you that is maybe the best trivia question of all time.
Wow.
This is right out of the media guide. Here's Chris Owings, who flying out his first time. Where was the Phillie Phanatic born? Under the category of they just made this up. Obviously. The Galapagos Islands. Tom Burgoyne is currently the guy in the suit. He's been with the Phillies promotional staff since 1990. He writes children's books, and he's the Phillie Phanatic. The Galapagos Islands. So sound smart to your friends. O'Sullivan works a 1-2-3 fourth. He's got a 1-0 lead. Honda dealers, where you'll get more standard features for less money. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Mix One, great taste, no face, available at local retailers. A live look at downtown Philadelphia. So far, so good weather-wise. A lot of thunderstorms in the area, but as you can see, it looks a lot better there than it did when we started the ball game. Darren Ruff opens up the Philly fourth against Josh Collmenter. He walked his first 10. Ruff has played parts of the last 3 seasons in the big leagues and has never hit much. His career batting average in the majors is about .240. But he's got some power and demonstrates that right here. It is gone. Darren Ruff, his 3rd home run, and it's 2-0 Phillies. Well, Ruff had a 38 home run season in AA 3 years ago. He's got some pop, and he takes Collmenter out of here. That was one of your keys to the game, Bob. Keep it in the yard, no souvenirs.
Yeah, try to keep it in the ballpark. He's had a good split between his fastball and changeup and his curveball today, but that's just to try to jump ahead in the count fastball right there, and Ruff was all over it.
Only 3 for his last 26 up there before that homer, but he's got a walk and a home run. Here's Maikel Franco. This is in the air left center field. Inciarte and Pollock. AJ has it for the first outs. Josh Collmenter, through his first 5 starts this season, had given up only 1 home run and pitched to a 2.76 ERA. But a big difference over his previous 2 starts when he'd given up 5 homers. And his ERA in his last 2 starts is over 15. You see that home run total now. That's updated, counting the Ruff homer. He's ahead of Hernandez now, 0-2. But somebody once said solo homers don't beat you, right?
As long as your team hits a few solo homers.
1-2.
That's one thing you can say about Josh. He may get banged around from time to time or from start to start, but he's not going to walk guys and put himself in a situation where instead of a solo, he's given up a 3-run bomb.
Yeah, he has pitched, Josh Collmenter, going into today 41 innings, and he's only walked 4 all year. That's in the seats. And Josh said after that rough outing Monday against the Nationals, that fastball command with that cutter is the beginning and ending of everything he does well. And in that game against Washington, it was up in the zone and flat. And Josh said when it's like that, it's pretty easy to hit, as evidenced by the way the Nationals chased him from the ball game in the 2nd inning on Monday. 2-2 to Hernandez is in there, strike 3. First strikeout for Collmenter. Got the corner.
Corner at the bottom of the kneecaps. That's a perfect fastball right there.
Two down. Odubel Herrera, the center fielder. Here as a Rule 5 pick this year. Phillies got him from Texas in the offseason. Just 23 years old. This is his first ever action above Double-A. Pops it up to shortstop. Owings is there. And Collmenter sets down 3 in a row after the Ruff homer. We go to the 5th. Diamondbacks down 2-0.
'87, '88. As a young player, I did not like the pop-ups at Wrigley Field because the sun was there and the wind. So I told DeGracy that on this side of the diamond he had all the pop-ups, and on the other side Sean Dunston had all the pop-ups. So I gave them those tough responsibilities, and so that's all part of being a rookie.
Ryne Sandberg reflecting on some of his memories playing with Mark Grace over the years. I call that, I guess, playing to your strengths and weaknesses. But Ryne Sandberg was the guy Mark Grace said he was grateful to play next to for all those years, and said he really followed his lead in the way that he prepared for the game of baseball.
And he's helping Diamondback hitters prepare this year as the assistant hitting coach, working with Turner Ward. Former Cub teammates.
Yeah, Rhino at second base at Wrigley Field was really, really good at pointing at pop-ups.
It's up there.
Plenty of room, Gracie.
Jordan Pacheco down 0-2.
Well, one thing Mark Grace brings to the table, a guy that had the career that he did and put up the numbers that he did over the course of that career. You learn an awful lot about hitting and analyzing opposing pitchers, and after watching one at bat in a ball game, Gracie can usually predict every pitch in the second and third at bat. You just watch what a guy has working on a given day, which pitch is he able to throw for strikes whenever he wants, what's he struggling with early in the game, and if you can eliminate some of the weapons in that pitcher's arsenal, you got a much better chance of putting a good swing on a pitch and hitting it hard.
He was our guest this spring on our D-backs podcast and talked about working with the really young guys in Hillsboro last year. This is along the right field line. Ruff is over there. A lot of foul ground, and he can't quite get there. And Gracie said, when you're at Hillsboro working with the Hops youngsters, you're talking about 17, 18-year-old kids. And Gracie was talking to them about hitting, and I said, well, did they know who you are? I mean, you had a very accomplished career. And he said, well, once they Googled me, they found out that I was all right as a major league player, and they listened. Didn't seem like that long ago, but I guess it was for some. Well, Sean O'Sullivan, who had a 7-pitch fourth inning, strikes out Pacheco to open up the fifth. He's now retired 5 in a row. That's his second strikeout. Sean O'Sullivan, it's been a long road. Josh Colementor had a base hit his first time up. O'Sullivan since 2009 has only pitched 56 games. The Angels, the Royals, the Padres, and now the Phillies. He was once traded for cash considerations and then let go shortly afterward. They didn't ask for a refund even. Slow roller up the first base line, and Ruff has it. O'Sullivan didn't even pitch in the big leagues in 2012. He has spent almost all the last 3 seasons pitching in AAA. 3 years, 4 different organizations. Royals, Blue Jays, Padres, Phillies. 25 starts for AAA Lehigh Valley last year. Went 6-10. The ERA was near 4.5. And the Phillies this spring told him, oh, you'll be a reliever. And then they told him, all right, you're going to start. Then he was in camp. Then he wasn't. He was sent to minor league camp, but he was told you're still in the mix for a big league spot. It was that kind of a spring for him. And yet here he is. And he's been up and down his whole career, he said. It's really been about trying to find out what he needs to do to stick. And whatever that is, he's doing it here today.
Yeah, he's really never had a season where he stayed in the big leagues all year. Parts of the season in the big leagues, then back to AAA. Start the next season in AAA and then get called up to the big leagues and then get sent back to AAA. He's been on that shuttle between the minor leagues and the big leagues, over 1,000 minor league innings.
Yeah, last 3 seasons, only 13 major league appearances, just 8 starts. And over that span, 0-5 with a 4.86 ERA, and today trying to win his first major league game since 2011. There's a strike to Inciarte, 2-1. Last time he won that game for the Royals at Yankee Stadium 4 years ago. They scored 11 runs for him, so that helped.
And for those D-backs fans who follow the Pacific Coast League, O'Sullivan threw the only no-hitter in Salt Lake history. Was only a walk away from a perfect game. Salt Lake was another good place to hit. Big fences, but the ball tended to carry really well, and the wind was always blowing out.
Called strike 3. Rings up Inciarte. Third strikeout for O'Sullivan, his second in this inning. Youngsters with the old school look in Philly. Diamondbacks down 2-0. Place is brought to you by your Valley Toyota dealer. 4 in Miami starting tomorrow, and that means BB dealing with Giancarlo.
Wow, he has put some mileage on some baseballs in the last week or 10 days. Each one seemingly farther than the one before it.
Cameron Rupp, the catcher, leads off the Philly fifth. Clemente right at 50 pitches, 28 strikes. He has walked 2. He's got 1 strikeout. He's given up a home run. Darren Ruff led off the 4th. Philly scored first in the 2nd. Cesar Hernandez led off the inning with a double. Came in a sacrifice fly by Cameron Rupp. This was Giancarlo Stanton last night, and watch where this one lands. About 480 out to dead center. And that guy caught it. That is unbelievable. You have to be at that ballpark to understand how far that is. That is an enormous outfield. So you'll get an up close and personal look at Giancarlo starting tomorrow. The first 3 games of that series for you on Fox Sports Arizona. 1-2 on Cameron Rupp. Along the right field line. Goldie's over there in foul ground, and he's got it. Good crowd here today on a hot, muggy day in Philadelphia. It's a nice shirt that guy's got. Can you pull off a shirt like that? The guy at bottom left there?
Yeah, sure. I have before.
How about the socks?
Only with loafers.
Looks like he's ready for a cruise.
Cabana wear.
It's a Philly Hawaiian shirt. Sean O'Sullivan is having a great day out there on the mound. He's given up only 3 hits. He's retired the last 7 Diamondbacks he's faced. He's 0 for 1 at the plate so far. Look out! That almost got Ben Revere in the on-deck circle.
Quick reflexes by Ben Revere.
Two and one.
You know, over the years of watching my son Michael play in the minor leagues, I saw something I'd never seen before. Similar situation. Dugout on the first base side. On deck hitter should be standing where Ben Revere is. With the pitcher at the plate, he moved over to the other on deck circle.
Can you do that?
Well, they did it.
I guess you can. A.J. Pollock runs that down.
It's a safety issue.
And here is Ben Revere. He has been on base twice so far. Single, walked, and stole a base. Speculation this week in the Philadelphia media that GM Ruben Amaro might be close to beginning a transitional phase in earnest here and shipping out some veterans for some prospects. And Revere's name has been on the list, at least the media's list, for whatever that's worth. And he said, look, that's just the way it is. Happens to everybody. Phillies have a crowded outfield and getting more crowded. Now that third baseman Cody Asche is being converted into a left fielder to make room for Maikel Franco at third. They got Odubel Herrera. They consider him, at least for now, the future in center field. And we'll see what happens with guys like Sizemore, Francoeur, and Revere. Revere grounds out to Goldie. That ends the fifth. Diamondbacks. Hey, Pretzels. 2-0 Phillies. Well, fans, right after our ball game here this afternoon, the first cup of coffee of the season on the 10th inning program, our debut episode for 2015 with the Diamondbacks chief baseball officer Tony La Russa. We sat down last month, and you'll see the debut running of that program right after our ball game here this afternoon on Fox Sports Arizona. Sean O'Sullivan has given up just 3 hits. He's retired 7 straight. And he'll work to Mark Trumbo, Paul Goldschmidt, and A.J. Pollock 2, 3, and 4 in the Diamondbacks 6. He's got a 2-0 lead. Trumbo so far has walked and struck out 0 for 1. Sullivan threw 5 innings on just 64 pitches, 42 strikes. And there's strike 1 to Trumbo. Reaches out and lifts it in the air to right center field. Herrera calls off Sizemore. D-backs just 3 hits so far, all singles. Tomas and Hill in the second. Colementor led off the third to the base hit. And that's been all the offense. Goldie is flied out. He was walked intentionally his last time up. Diamondbacks This year, BB 0 for Pennsylvania.
Yeah, how about that?
Swept at home by the Pirates. Trying to avoid a sweep here in Philly.
Well, this game is right there for the taking. Third time through the order. See if the D-backs have a little better idea against Mr. O'Sullivan.
Well, he has certainly earned another start. He's basically going start to start at this point with the Phillies, after missing a month with left knee tendonitis. Oldie down 0-2. Phillies have had good starting pitching in this series, and they have a chance today for their 5th straight win. They haven't won 5 in a row since last July. And the Diamondbacks in danger today of getting swept by Philadelphia for the first time since July of 2010. And Sullivan has been ahead in the count all day long. Called strike 3. Rings up Goldschmidt. 4 strikeouts. A little discussion here with Mike Everett.
All right, near the bottom of the knees that time. Just a power fastball. Drives it down to the bottom of the zone. Maybe the bottom of the zone. Goldie rarely says anything to a home plate umpire about a call.
Looked like he had a case on that one. 2 down for AJ, who's 0 for 2. Tries to bunt. Franco, the rookie, well back at third, and he's got no play. Pollock's aboard. And that ends a stretch of 9 straight retired by O'Sullivan. Heads up play there by Pollock. Looking at third base, you saw the rookie Franco well back in the bag.
How many cleanup hitters in baseball will try to bunt for a base hit? Perfectly executed. He saw Franco way back there at third base. Take what they give you.
A chance for Tomas, who nearly hit 2 homers last night. His first big league homer, a drive to right field off a fastball from reliever Ken Giles. And he nearly homered in his first at bat, as Bob mentioned earlier last night, against Jerome Williams, a long single high off the wall and left.
We've talked a lot in this series about the Diamondbacks' ability to hit with 2 outs in the inning. And this guy leads the parade. Yasmani Tomas, a .423 hitter with 2 outs. That's going to go up.
And it bounces into right field. AJ hustling all the way. He'll get third. And they're on the corners with 2 down for Aaron Hill. Tomas 2 for 3. Let's take a look at our T-Mobile game-changing player. It's Aaron Hill versus these Phillies, and look at these numbers. That'll work. Last 6 games.
Singled in his first at bat today. Boy, if he could step on one right now, it'd be a game changer.
That was a great play by AJ. He saw how high that was bouncing into the outfield, and that allowed him to take that extra base. So Pollock at third. Tomas at first. 2 down for Hill, who singled in the second. He's 1 for 2. Ball 1. Chip Hale said this week, ever since spring training, where Chip kind of gave Aaron Hill an idea of where his playing time would come, he's just gotten better and better. And Chip pointed out, kind of a cool thing to see when a veteran guy like that sort of starts to almost play like a rookie, sporadic at bats. But Aaron has a lot of energy, kind of contagious to the other guys. That's rolled foul. It's 1-1. .75 pitches now for Sean O'Sullivan, 50 for strikes. That 7-pitch fourth certainly helped. yanked foul, a ball and 2 strikes. Aaron this month hitting just under .440 with 3 homers. He's really had a good month of May. 2 on, 2 out, a ball and 2 strikes. Rupp wants to make sure they have the right pitch. Yvette Rupp behind the plate and Ruff at first.
Those 2 guys standing on the mound, it just went down about 4 inches.
Well, they've talked about lowering the mound. Got Rupp back there at 6'2", 260. O'Sullivan 6'1", 255. It's about 500 pounds worth of battery out there. 1-2 in the dirt. Well, they've had 2 consecutive 2-out hits. Need 1 more here. 2 on, 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. It's full. Chris Owings would be next.
Oh, that ball just hit O'Sullivan right in the throat.
He's looking over at first base. Looking over toward the runner Tomas at first, was not looking at Rupp, the catcher. Sandberg and the trainers are out there now. Turns around and gets it almost right in the Adam's apple. He's pitched a heck of a ball game so far, given up just 5 hits, all singles. He has walked 2, 1 intentionally. He's got 4 strikeouts. And he has kept the Diamondbacks off the scoreboard.
I'm not sure quite why he was looking over at first base there as he came walking in toward home plate. And Rupp just assumed this pitcher was coming in to get the throw back from behind the plate, and he takes it right in the throat. Ouch.
Mike Everett, the plate umpires out there. And it looks like we're all set here. Sean O'Sullivan. Cameron Rupp, the catcher. Got A.J. Pollock at third. Yasmani Tomas at first. 2 outs. And a full count on Aaron Hill.
Well, Rupp has blocked about a dozen pitches in the dirt today. I guess he just wanted to pay O'Sullivan back.
3-2, 2 outs. Owings on deck. There goes Tomas from first. Aaron Hill hits it high and deep to left. It's near the line. And Revere tracks it down. So Sean O'Sullivan, a lump in the throat as he walks off. He's got a 2-0 lead.
He really wants a day at the ballpark. The D-backs take on the San Diego Padres on June 21st for a 1:10 afternoon game. The first 10,000 dads will get a D-backs dad t-shirt courtesy of Audi. Get your Father's Day tickets now at dbacks.com.
Andres Blanco, the second baseman, leads off the Phillies' sixth against Josh Collmenter, who, since giving up the Darren Ruff homer to lead off the fourth, has retired 6 in a row. Blanco 0 for 2. Popped him up. Tomas, third base side. Was in guarding against the bunt. He's got it. 7 straight now. Sit down by Collmenter. John O'Sullivan looks like he's okay. It really left a mark. Look at that. Looks like he's okay, thankfully.
He's 6'2", 260. It's going to take more than that to bring him down.
6'1", 255. He's a big boy out there. It's Grady Sizemore now. Sizemore 0 for 2. Sizemore's second season in Philadelphia, 60 games for the Phillies last year. With this guy, parts of 8 seasons in Cleveland. He was an All-Star 3 times with the Indians. Finished top 12 in the MVP voting 3 times. Won 2 Gold Gloves. What a run he had with the Indians before injuries just wrecked his career. Rolls it into the shift. Tomas spins and throws. Wild throw. Goldie got the foot down. Nice play by the Gold Glove first baseman Paul Goldschmidt. Let's make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game. Tomas and Goldie. That's a 5-3 putout right there.
Boy, that ability to make an adjustment after you've reached the base. Goldie saved an error right there. No question about it. Nice play by Tomas, but his throw is to the outfield side and in foul territory. And Goldie keeps that right foot on the bag, stretches out, makes the play.
Here's Ruff, who homered his last time up, his 3rd of the year. Ball 1. Ruff, another big guy up there, 6'3", 250. He has walked and homered.
Big curveball there from Josh Collmenter. This was the home run back in the 4th. Ender Inciarte tried to climb the barrier out there and make a play, but it's too far up into the seats. I was about to say Collmenter mixing in more curveballs today. That start against the Nationals, they just didn't give him a chance to even incorporate that pitch.
Locates that one nicely for a strike. It's 2-1. Yeah, that start was over before he could throw a curveball.
He didn't even break a sweat. He was out of the game.
4 outs. It was belted into left field. Second hit today for Darren Ruff. A 2-out single that snaps a stretch of 8 straight, retired by Josh.
A change-up belt high out over the plate. That's the pitch he needs to get down at knee level or even below knee level. Get that ball on the ground.
Maikel Franco now with 2 outs and a Ruff at first. He's 0 for 2. Franco got his first big league look last September with the Phillies. Hit under 180, just 2 extra base hits. Then he was a much less mature hitter, as AAA coaches say. Always taking big wild swings at any pitch anywhere, trying to hit that 500-foot home run all the time. But they said in Lehigh Valley this year he's been better, a lot quieter in the box. The at-bats are different. Not trying to do too much all the time. He's ahead 2-0. He does look a little Miguel Tejada-ish up there. That's in the seats. And if he turns out to be that good, they'll take it, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
He can be short and quick up there when he needs to be, Franco, before he gets to 2 strikes. The coaches say he's been a little more selective, not chasing everything like he did last year. Drives it to center field. Pollock backing up at the wall. And it's off the wall. Ruff will come in and score, and Franco's headed for third. 3-0 Phillies.
Well, middle of the plate pitch once again. That ball was blasted. AJ actually plays this off his chest, off the carom. Got a little too close to the wall out there, realized it was going to get by him, so he just chested up, knocked the ball down, but Franco advances all the way to third base. RBI triple.
First triple of his young career, the 22-year-old. He'll be 23 in August. Mike Harkey. Randall Delgado starts throwing in the Diamondback bullpen. D-backs and Phillies each have 5 hits here today. All 5 Diamondback hits are singles. The Phillies now have a double, a triple, and a home run to go with their 2 singles. They've also had 2 batters reach base with a walk. Holmenter now at 74 pitches. And still some work to do here with Franco at third and 2 out. Cesar Hernandez steps in. Boy, Franco, that ball was belted. Ball 1. Hernandez doubled and scored back in the second. He's 1 for 2. Base hit. 4-0 Phillies. Hernandez takes the turn. Trumbo picks it up in the corner. And he's got his second double today, his 4th of the year. Another one, Bob, in that right field corner here at the bank.
And Josh starting to make a lot of mistakes over the heart of the plate, both with the changeup and the fastball. Might be starting to tire a little bit out there, just not getting the ball either down below the zone or up above the zone. Once again, right in the middle. Out into that vortex in right field.
A vortex of doom for the Diamondbacks all weekend long. Odubel Herrera down the center fielder. 4-0 Phillies, and Hernandez at second.
Eight of 25 first pitch strikes, very uncharacteristic for Josh Collmenter. He's also had 5 2-0 counts in this game. Obviously very dangerous counts against an aggressive swinging team.
This is their most aggressive swinger. Pops it up behind the bag at second. Owings and Hill are out there. CO has it. But the Phillies get 2, and through 6 they lead the Diamondbacks 4-0.
Silent assassin. He's a quiet guy, very unassuming, but he's also got a little sick side to him. You know, he was always the guy, and he's probably going to get mad at me for telling this, but he was always the guy that was the king of the hot foots. Really? Like, oh yeah, you'd just be sitting there. You know, if there was a rain delay and you had a card game, your feet would be on fire.
More from my conversations with Mark Grace and Ryne Sandberg, and his rebuttal was simply that, no, it wasn't me. Rick Sutcliffe did that. I was never proven guilty of that. And then he kind of raised his eyebrows. So it's interesting, though, guys. And, you know, these stories have been well documented, but Ryne Sandberg is so quiet, old school. I think Gracie put it well there, silent assassin. You know, he had his times where he would joke around. You know, Bob, I don't know if when you managed you had guys that were kind of like that, quiet, but then, you know, they would occasionally do these type of things to keep the ball club, to keep everything fun in there.
One of my former teammates, now a play-by-play guy for the Giants, Dwayne Kuiper, he was notorious for that. He would come up to you and say, boy, it'd be funny if somebody would hide Frank Robinson's shoes.
Chris Owings bounces this to shortstop. Hernandez throws him out.
Yeah, Kuip wouldn't actually do the deed, but he would egg other guys into doing things and then sit back and laugh.
New pitcher for the Phillies, Luis Garcia, the right-hander, who got his first major league save in the series opener when he pitched 2 innings. It was the first save by a Phillies pitcher of at least 2 innings since Ryan Madson back in 2009. That was Friday night. Jordan Pacheco 0 for 2. So a terrific outing here for the Phillies. Sean O'Sullivan. 6 scoreless innings, gave up just 5 hits, walked 2, struck out 4. Pitcher spot due up next for the Diamondbacks, and David Peralta's in the on-deck circle. It's a good thing Cameron Rupp doesn't catch a whole lot because he needs a lot of rest.
It's all part of the job description.
Hernandez one more time. 2 down.
Well, let's take a look at this day in baseball history. Brought to you by Geico. Today it's actually Diamondbacks history. May 17th, 2002. Arubio Durazo drove in 9 runs, had 3 homers and a double with the bases loaded. A 12-9 victory over the Phillies. First home run, he drove in Gonzalez. Second home run, he drove in Gonzalez. Third home run, he drove in Gonzalez.
So what are you saying?
Gonzo scored 4 times in front of Arubio Durazo in that ball game.
Well, that's clearly you have to credit the manager that filled up the lineup card. Now, who was that?
Brilliant.
David Peralta hits for the pitcher Cole Mentor.
Put the must-hit sign on.
Shift is on by Philadelphia. Peralta, 270 and 4 homers. He's 1 for 8 in the series. It was not a bad outing by Josh Collmenter, but a little disappointing here. Gave up 4 earned on 6 hits in 6 innings. Walked 2, struck out 1, gave up a home run.
Yeah, really just came unglued a little bit there in the 6th inning. Really very few mistakes he made in this game came back to back to back in that 6th. Phillies pushed across a couple of runs. A solo home run by Darren Ruff. Back in the 2nd inning, a leadoff double, a sac bunt, a sac fly.
But the Phillies today had the big hits, 4 extra base hits against Josh Collmenter, 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run. And Garcia works a 1-2-3 7th. He strikes out Peralta. They stretch at the bank. Diamondbacks need to find some energy food here. They're down 4-0. Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Mattress Firm. Save money, sleep happy. By Law Tigers, Arizona's motorcycle lawyers. And by the Bureau of Tobacco. Secondhand smoke makes everyone a smoker. See how you can live smoke-free at azsmokefreeliving.org. Oh, it's a dangerous place. Belching hats onto the field. That's nice. The Fanatic and his mascot buddies. As we start the bottom of the 7th, Randall Delgado on for the Diamondbacks in relief of Josh Collmenter. Our Gila River game summary. Sean O'Sullivan pitched well for the Phillies. A 4-0 lead. Phillies 4 extra base hits. They have been totaling the extra base hits in this series. 4 today, 6 yesterday. They hit 3 doubles on Friday, and that's really what's done in the Diamondbacks here. Numbers on Randall this year, his 15th appearance.
Yeah, Randall just wants to put up a couple of zeros here, give his offense a chance to maybe break through against this Phillies bullpen. Saw a change. Daniel Hudson was warming earlier in the Diamondbacks bullpen. That was only if Josh Collmenter needed help getting out of the 6th inning. And then once Josh was able to get through that inning, Daniel Hudson had a seat, and Randall Delgado, the guy that gets up.
So Delgado will work the home half of the 7th, down 4-0. Cameron Rupp will lead it off, the catcher. Pitcher spot due up after that, and Ryan Howard is in the on-deck circle. Rupp drove in the game's first run, a sacrifice fly back in the 2nd. Popped up his last time. A look at the Diamondback bullpen, which they put top shelf here in the ballpark so they can be closer to the fans.
Now the assistant pitching coach is out there hanging over the railing, helping them with their mechanics.
See, the Phillies are on the bottom there. They can work with some privacy, but the Diamondbacks right up there underneath the fans. In Ashburn Alley here at Citizens Bank Park.
Coming up on June 5th, we're going to do a show where we put the emphasis on the bullpen. See what life is like for a bullpen coach, a bullpen pitcher, bullpen catcher, the view they have of the game, how they watch it a little bit differently than those guys in the dugout.
94 from Delgado, 1-2 on Cameron Rupp. The sacrifice fly in the second was his first RBI this season. And Delgado strikes him out to open up the seventh. Take a look at our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. We're on an airplane right after this ball game, headed down south to Miami. Ruby De La Rosa against former Dodger Dan Herron. Pre-game show comes your way. Diamondback Live at 3:30 tomorrow afternoon back home in Arizona on Fox Sports AZ. Ryan Howard, 238, 7 homers. He's got 3 hits in the series, including a pair of doubles. He's driven in 2, and he will hit for the pitcher Garcia. Shift is on for Howard. And there's a strike, 0-1. Day off for most of the Phillies regulars. No Utley, no Howard today. Carlos Ruiz getting a rest as well. But this patchwork Phillies lineup has put together a 4-0 lead. A ball and 2 strikes.
It just goes to show you in this game what you expect to happen once they play the national anthem. Doesn't always happen. We had that series against the Dodgers where we weren't facing any of their good pitchers.
And at the perfect time and lost all 3.
Lost all 3 ball games. You come in here to Philadelphia, drop the first 2. Ryan Sandberg runs the Killer Bees out there for a day game after a night game, and Diamondbacks have yet to score. The Killer Bees have put a 4 spot on the board.
The Fanatic gets them going here. 22,000 plus at the bank on a steamy Sunday in May. 2-2. Belted. Delgado had to duck to get out of the way of that one. He knocks it into center for a 1-out single. That ball was smoked.
Head right down the barrel of the bat. Track that one deep into the hitting zone, right over the head of Randall Delgado on into center field.
So Howard aboard at first with a 1-out. Top of the order, Ben Revere. He has singled and walked so far, 1 for 2. Tomas well in on the grass at third base. Revere, originally a first-round pick by the Twins. Phillies got him before the 2013 season in a trade for pitchers Trevor May and Vance Worley. And Revere has been a .300 hitter in both his first 2 seasons with the Phillies. There's a strike, 1-1.
Comeback 2-seamer that time from Randall Delgado. Started off the plate, almost made it back to the corner, close enough for Mike Everett.
Over the glove of Owings and into left center, a base hit for Revere. He's aboard for the 3rd time today.
It seems like Ben Revere makes several highlight reel catches every week. Every time you turn on one of the highlight shows, there's Ben Revere diving to his left, diving to his right, diving straight in.
Yeah, he has started games at all 3 outfield spots this season. And he's hit at the top of the order. He's hit at the bottom of the order. And he may be a piece with all their outfield depth. The Phillies decide to move at the trade deadline this year. 2 on, 1 out for Blanco, who's 0 for 3. Getting the start at second base for Chase Utley this afternoon. One thing about Revere on the bases here, he's not going anywhere with a base clogger in front, Ryan Howard. Delgado ahead 0-2. The sun is threatening to come out for the first time in this series, just behind the left field foul pole. There's a hint of blue back there. The lights are still on here at Citizens Bank Park. 1-2.
I think under normal circumstances, Ryne Sandberg would like to take Ryan Howard out of the game for a pinch runner. But if you look at the guys he has available on the bench, it's the rest of the starting lineup from the first 2 games of the series. Chase Utley, Freddie Galvis, Chooch Ruiz, Jeff Francoeur. So Ryan Howard's going to have to find his way around the bases all by himself.
Roll to first. Goldie will take it all by himself, and the runners move up. Well, Grady Sizemore a chance here. Second and third, 2 outs after his 4-hit night last night. Talking about how good he was in Cleveland, that 4-year run, Grady Sizemore with the Indians, when he was simply one of the best players in the game, his ages 22 to 25 seasons. He hit .281, averaged 27 homers, 81 RBIs, and 29 stolen bases a year, every year for 4 years, all while playing a Gold Glove center field. But long-suffering knee injuries are hopefully behind him here. At the age of 32, he'll be 33 in August. The career numbers. Swing and a miss, 0-1. Ryne Sandberg was asked last month, can Grady Sizemore ever get back to the player he used to be? And Sandberg said, I don't know. But the Phillies think they have a guy here who can give them professional at bats, a quality bat, a guy who can play some outfield for them, and he's done that. And hold up there, down 0-2.
And a possible trade chip at the deadline, depending on what the Phillies decide to do. A lot of teams would like a veteran like Grady Sizemore available as a 4th outfielder, pinch hitter off the bench, defensive replacement late in the game.
Well, Cody Ashley, the third baseman, being converted into a left fielder. They have Dominic Brown, of course, who's already in the minors and has yet to play a big league game this year. So there's a lot of bodies out there.
Sounded like a tip right there. Jordan Pacheco is trying to plead his case to Mike Everett. You really see it. The ball goes by so quickly, but the sound, it sounded like a double thud there. Ball ticked off the bat and straight into the glove of Jordan Pacheco.
Here comes Chip Hale to have a conversation with Mike Everett, plate umpire. Fanatic is upset. Not much has gone Chip Hale's way this weekend. And getting shut out in a game in which Sean O'Sullivan starts for the Phillies. And it's going to make for a long flight. Phillies came into this series averaging fewer than 3 runs per game this year, the worst scoring team in the major leagues. But they've got a 4-0 lead in the 7th and threatening more. 2 on 2 outs, a 1-2 count to Grady Sizemore. I can confirm that was definitely foul.
I heard that one.
Only heard one thud there. Howard is the runner at third. The speedy Ben Revere at second. Two balls and two strikes. Sizemore last 14 games hitting better than 400. 4 hits last night. Three and two. Aaron Ruff, who has reached base safely all 3 times he's been up, including a home run, would be next. Ball 4 kicks back to Pacheco, and the bases are loaded. The runners have to hold, so a break for the Diamondbacks right there on the count.
Hopefully that's something the Diamondbacks discovered before the first game of this series. One of the things you'll do as a catcher or as a corner infielder is just throw some baseballs off the barriers and see what it does. If it hits a little bit higher, it hits that green padding and drops straight down. But that time it hit the bricks and came right back to Jordan Pacheco at the plate.
Bases loaded situation. We'll take this moment as Chip Hale goes out to the mound. Have some breaking news for you here, BB. We're set to fly to Miami after the ball game here this afternoon, and the Marlins just moments ago have fired their manager Mike Redmond.
Wow.
Bench coach Rob Leary has also been dismissed. Howard is at third. Revere is at second. Sizemore at first. Bases loaded, 2 outs for Darren Ruff. He has walked, homered, and singled. He's got an RBI. He scored twice. First pitch swinging. Shallow right. Trumbo coming in. And Delgado wiggles off the hook and leaves them loaded. 8th inning on the way. Diamondbacks trail it 4-0.
That look at you.
The Cox Gig Life high-speed highlights. Not a whole lot of Diamondback highlights here. trying to avoid a sweep in this 3-game series at the hands of the Phillies, and on to work the 8th for Philadelphia is the right-hander Ken Giles. They've got a really good combo here with Giles setting up Papelbon, and they're in position to do that again here today.
Yeah, we saw Giles last night pitch 2/3 of an inning, came into the ball game to face Yasmani Tomas, who took him deep to the opposite field. Then he struck out Chris Owings and got Tuffy Gosewich to ground to third to get out of the inning.
Jeff Francoeur takes over for Sizemore in right field. Double switch by Ryan Sandberg. Francoeur will hit 9th pitcher spot, now 3rd in the Phillies order. Inciarte yanks that one right to Dave McKay at first. Inciarte, Trumbo, Goldie 1, 2, and 3 in the Arizona 8th. And Ender needs a new bat. Diamondbacks with just 5 hits so far, all singles. Franco in a step or two on the grass at third to guard against the bunt from Inciarte. He's down, no balls and 2 strikes.
It really has been feast or famine with this Diamondbacks offense this year. In 10 of their 15 wins, they've scored 7 or more runs.
Ender fans at that one. Giles strikes him out.
On the other side, 9 of their 20 losses, they've either scored 1 or no runs.
Hey, fans, follow the Diamondbacks all season long. MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcasts, StatCast, and a whole lot more. You can get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. Mark Trumbo through the wickets on the mound and into center, a base hit. Trumbo aboard for the 2nd time today. Diamondbacks need some base runners.
Back where it came from. Trumbo walked back in that 1st inning, struck out, fly to center, and finally a base hit back up the middle of the field to get on base in front of Goldie.
Goldie walked intentionally back in the 3rd. He's 0 for 2. High in the air to right field. Francoeur still backing up, and he's got it on a warning track for the 2nd out. 2 down for A.J. Pollock.
Didn't miss by much. Another towering fly ball to right field. This one chasing Francoeur all the way back to the middle of the warning track.
A.J. singled his last time up. He's 1 for 3 batting cleanup here today. 295 on the year. This is belted to right center field. Herrera's underneath it, and he runs it down. Giles strands the 1-out single. Diamondbacks as they head to the bottom of the 8th, trail it 4-0. Is brought to you in part by Chaz Roberts, Air Conditioning and Plumbing. Choose Chaz. From Philadelphia, Arizona, Diamondbacks baseball is brought to you by Sanderson Ford. D-backs trail the Phillies 4-0. Randall Delgado back out there, his second inning of work. Maikel Franco, the third baseman, drives one to left. Inciarte at the track, at the wall, and it is gone. A home run. Maikel Franco, his first major league homer. The second today for the Phillies, and they lead at 5-0.
Another high fly ball that just continued to carry. It was a hanging breaking pitch up around the letters. Franco had kind of committed with his lower body, got his weight out on his front foot, and once again Ender Inciarte trying to climb the wall to steal one. Just couldn't get up high enough.
Ruff led off the fourth with a solo homer. Now Franco the eighth. One of their top prospects, and you just saw why. He's got a triple, a homer. He has driven in two and scored twice today. Just called up to the big leagues on Friday, and now they have to go get the souvenir. That's the lucky fan, and negotiations are underway. Cesar Hernandez.
Buy him a cheesesteak. He'll give it to you.
If only we could find one around here. Hernandez has had 2 hits, both doubles. Let's see the fan here. Off the glove of that woman, and this guy comes barreling over, pushes her aside, and takes it away.
Oh, gentlemanly.
Come on, man.
That's weak.
Can we show the Phillies that video? So you can either give us the ball and leave, or we'll take you out back and you'll deal with the mountain. Is the mountain still here?
He's on call, just in case something like that happens.
This guy's thinking he just won the lottery. First career home run for one of the Phillies' up-and-coming young prospects, Maikel Franco. 2-2 to Hernandez. That's in the seats.
The politeness police ought to arrest that man.
Well, you know, it's Philly.
Yeah.
I find the fans here very polite, actually. They're into the game, and they're a lot of fun. Called strike 3. Delgado rings him up.
Unless you play for the Phillies and are having a bad game.
Yeah, then not so much. Hey, D-backs fans, visit your local Bashas' store. Find the Destination D-backs Pepsi display. Purchase $25 worth of participating Pepsi, Budweiser, and Frito-Lay products, and you get a pair of tickets to an upcoming Diamondbacks Friday night game. See the display for offer details. Pepsi, live for now. Odubel Herrera. He's 0 for 2. Philly started this series generating fewer runs than any team in the league, but they've had the Diamondbacks number in this series, and they've done it with the extra base hit. 3 doubles on Friday, 6 extra base hits last night, 5 extra base hits today, including 2 homers. They've out-hit the Diamondbacks 9-6. They lead at 5-0. 2 balls and a strike to Odubel Herrera. This is a guy they think is their center fielder. He's a Rule 5 pick, and they like him a lot, but tentatively scheduled to play center field. It's worked out well so far. Except for that, more wild swings. Head up, out of control. Now this young lady is still, I had the ball right here, and then that guy came over and basically knocked me aside. And I think she's got a pretty good case. Phone's blowing up.
Yeah. Don't worry, we'll find out where that guy lives.
Let's take a look. Now, that woman about to catch the first career home run off the bat of Maikel Franco. That guy comes over. Watch him push her here. Right there. Come on, dude. Scott along the left field line, drifting into the seats and out of play.
Well, fortunately, that's the exception to the rule, and we've seen it all summer long. Fans that catch a foul ball in the stands or a home run ball and either willingly give it back or give it to a kid. But every so often, you're going to run into somebody like the guy who stole the ball from the little old lady.
Defenseless little old lady.
Yeah.
Wearing her Phillies shirt.
Had her glove and everything.
I mean, come on. She's in the front row, ready to go. Hot Sunday afternoon. She's here. It was at the Vet they used to have, I think they still do with the Link anyway, the jail for the fans, right?
Yeah. I think most ballparks have a holding cell for fans that misbehave.
Lock them in the dungeon. 40 pitches now for Randall Delgado, 26 strikes. What can you do?
What are you going to do?
Off Delgado, it caroms over to shortstop. Owings has to hurry. And Odubel Herrera, who runs really well, beats it out up the line.
Randall kind of spins off to that first base side, ends up with the right side of his body facing home plate. That one deflects right to CO, but as you said, just too much speed from Herrera.
Yeah, this guy can run.
Sniffing a base hit right there. Just does leg it out.
Cameron Rupp. I think we're making arrangements to right now go out to that great Phillies fan out there. There she is, and give her, as a token of our, just a gesture from the folks at the Diamondbacks and Fox Sports Arizona, a consolation prize. And that's on its way out there. And it's a rare item that has not yet been released to the public. She will be the only person in Philadelphia, and in fact one of the few people on this planet to have the t-shirt that is right now being run out there by our fairly unreliable staff.
Well, unless that guy ends up back in the seat beside her and steals it from her.
He's down there negotiating, trying to get a Cadillac out of the deal.
Yeah. Season tickets for life. Well, she needs something to cheer her up. I feel bad for that poor lady.
Well, I think it's big of you to arrange a part of your staff here to get her a t-shirt. And not just any t-shirt. The Diamondbacks superhero t-shirt, which you can't get yet out on the streets.
Coming up Friday night when we get back home, superhero night. Not to mention the Friday night fireworks, Chase Field. That's a must-attend evening at the ballpark.
Friday, May 22nd, kicking off a big weekend against the Cubs. Superheroes night at Chase Field. And you can still get your t-shirt if you buy a superhero ticket package. You only get the t-shirt with the package, as Rupp stays alive right there. So log on to dbacks.com right now and get your tickets for Friday night, the 22nd, Superheroes night. And you will get this very cool shirt. My wife Cindy has one, and she wore it at the ballpark Friday when we went to the game and sat in the seats. I'm telling you, people were complimenting her on this t-shirt left and right. At the hotel, I mean, they loved it. So we're going to send one out there right now and see what the reaction is, and you'll get another look at the shirt, which is just really cool.
I got to say, it's one of the better giveaway items I've seen in the last 3 years. I can't wait to get my hands on an XL.
I'm going to tweet out, in fact, a picture right now. If you haven't seen the superhero t-shirt yet and you're on the Twitter, I'm going to tweet out a picture of my wife Cindy wearing the shirt. It is really cool. Don't tweet during a broadcast. I'm breaking a rule here, but it's a special occasion.
Nobody's watching.
Sure they are.
I mean, nobody's watching you send out a tweet. Could be one of your staff.
That's right. One of my many staff. All right, it's out there on the Twitter. Picture of Cindy during batting practice Friday, wearing the. It's got the kind of the Captain America logo, and it's got the Diamondback logo inside. That's what it looks like.
Beautiful.
And you can only get that superhero T-shirt Friday night against the Cubs when you buy the special Superhero Night special event ticket package. dbacks.com/event. Herrera takes off. Rupp strikes out. And here we go. I think we're out there now. Here comes our highly unreliable staff member. Let's see if we can find the young lady. She left.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, there she's over there. This is Mr. X from Parts Unknown. And he has a consolation prize. And he's going to explain the whole deal here to her. Right now he's representing, and this is a horrifying thought, both the Diamondbacks and Fox Sports Arizona. He will go unnamed. But that is the shirt.
You may have just won a new fan.
Well, this is what we do, BB.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
All right.
We mend fences here.
Yeah.
We bring people together. Fans of all nations. Jeff Francoeur.
Nice.
Now that's a great looking shirt right there. Look, and the guy just knocked me over and stole the baseball. Nice work by your staff.
Very nice. Very nice.
Although he's getting far too much TV time, he's going to be very upset. The guy behind the guy right there. 1-1 on Francoeur. Took over in right field for Sizemore. Herrera at second, 2 outs. Well, I think you're to be commended. Maybe a Nobel Peace Prize. There she is, standing up.
She is some kind of proud of that shirt.
Showing everybody.
Very nice.
Diamondback fan for life right there.
Well, hopefully we turned a cloudy day into a sunny day for that lady. It's always sunny in Philadelphia, right?
That's what the show says, yeah. Well, this is what we do. 1-2.
Well, with any luck, the Diamondbacks will come up in the top half of the 9th inning and hit a few more out there, and that lady can wrestle that guy for those home run balls.
I still say we sick the mountain on that dude. Because the mountain, when he gets a hold of your skull, bad things happen.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's horrible. Did not go. And I'll bet it's not the first time they've had trial by combat here in Philadelphia. Just a hunch. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Herrera the runner at second. It's full 3-2. Revere on deck. He's been aboard 3 times today, 2 singles and a walk. He stole a base. All 4. Hey fans, enter now for your chance to win a trip to the MLB All-Star Game in Cincinnati on Fox later this summer. A trip for you and 3 of your friends, in fact. Upload 2 photos of yourself at foxsports.com/fantasticallstar now through June the 3rd. Cale's out there to get Delgado. Pitching change back from Philadelphia after this. Up on a full night of NHL and NBA playoff action, plus highlights of all the major league games from around baseball. You can see Fox Sports Live tonight, 9 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, or watch it simulcast right here on Fox Sports Arizona following the 10th inning. New pitcher for the Diamondbacks, the former Philly J.C. Ramirez, out to try and get the final out here in the 8th inning. Diamondbacks trail at 5-0. Herrera is the runner at second, and Francoeur at first. Ben Revere, 2 hits and a walk. The numbers on Ramirez, his 3rd appearance. He's looked good for the Diamondbacks after a good spring. Foul right by Juan Samuel. Ramirez, 26, a big guy out there, 6'4", 250. Had a good April at AAA Reno this year, pitching for Phil Nevin down. Did not pitch in the big leagues last season. In fact, his only previous major league experience, 18 games with the Phillies 2 seasons ago. All in relief. Revere slaps it into left center field. Herrera will come in and score to make it 6-0. They throw it around the infield and the runners advance. Ben Revere, his 3rd hit today.
Just flips it out there into left field to Ender Inciarte, who came up with the ball quickly, saw that Francoeur had taken a big turnaround second, tried to throw behind him, but his throw's offline and there's nobody there to back up the play.
An RBI single, E7 on the throw by Inciarte. Allows Revere to get to second and Francoeur to third. Andres Blanco, the second baseman, 0 for 4. Roll to second, right to Aaron Hill. Well, Maikel Franco, his first major league homer, stolen by this jerk who comes in from the right-hand side, takes the ball away. And there's our Diamondback and Fox Sports Arizona staff making good. This is what we do, BB. We bring people together. Well, fans, right after our ball game here on Fox Sports Arizona, it's the 10th inning and the debut episode in 2015 of the Cup of Coffee program with our guest, Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa, who's here with us at the ballpark this afternoon. Cup of Coffee on the 10th inning, immediately following our ball game here, brought to you by CenturyLink. That's what's next. 9th inning, and the former Pirate Genmar Gomez on to close it out. Diamondbacks trail at 6-0.
Lofty opponent's batting average against Gomez this season, .339. You can see 8 strikeouts against 5 walks in his 14 2/3 innings of work.
He'll work to Tomas. Hill and Owings 5, 6, and 7 in the Arizona 9th. Yasmani Tomas 2 for 3, a pair of singles. Ball 1. Got some news here, BB, on the old email from Joe Brand, who is the voice of the Kane County Cougars, Diamondbacks low A affiliate, and Touki Toussaint, the first-round draft pick, made his Kane County debut and looked good, according to Joe Brand. Touki pitched 4 innings today, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits, walked 2, and had 6 strikeouts. The fastball hit 93 on the ballpark gun, and the curveball looked really good. So good news on the pitching front. Touki Toussaint looks good in his Kane County debut. One hopper right to Hernandez. Well, the Phillies about to win their 5th straight. They have not won 5 straight games since last July. And they will, barring an epic comeback here, sweep the series. And the Diamondbacks, this will be their first sweep at the hands of the Phillies since July of 2010. So it's been a while.
And as you said earlier, 0 for Pennsylvania, got swept by the Pirates at home. Now on the verge of possibly getting swept here by the Phillies.
Now the offense just has not been there today. 6 hits by the Diamondbacks, all singles. Unless they score a run here, this will be the 4th time this season they've been shut out, and the 10th time this year in 36 games they have scored 1 or no runs. So the offense has come in bunches, but very quiet here this weekend. And that's an odd stat for a team that's won a bunch of ball games, 10 runs, 11 runs. Very streaky. And now they'll head to Miami right after this ball game for 4 against the Marlins. Miami just fired their manager Mike Redmond earlier today. And they'll go down there for 4 at Marlins Park and deal with Giancarlo Stanton and company. 2-1 on Aaron Hill, who singled back in the 2nd. He's 1 for 3. Shoots it fair down the right field line. Francoeur picks it up in the corner. Aaron Hill continues to swing a hot bat. That's his 5th double. And he's 2 for 4. First extra base hit for the Diamondbacks today.
Second hit of the game for Aaron Hill, both coming to the right side. Hit that grounder back in the 2nd inning that just got by Andres Blanco at second base, and now shoots one down in the right field corner for extra bases.
Boy, Aaron Hill in May hitting just about .440 with 3 home runs. Couple of hits here today. He's at second with a 1 out for Chris Owings. CO's 0 for 3. Chris had a pair of hits in Friday's series opener, had 3 more hits last night. He's got a 5-game hitting streak on the line right here.
with a 6-run lead. 2-0 count on Chris Owings. This is where you anticipate a fastball. Middle of the plate in. If you get it, put a good swing on it. Try to do some real damage.
In the hole and into left, a base hit. Aaron Hill had to hold up, so he'll stay at second. Trying to make sure Hernandez didn't get to that ball and knock it down. Didn't want to run into it out here, down 6-0.
And looks a little awkward for Aaron Hill, but he did the right thing. You've got to make sure that ball gets through the left side. If the shortstop makes a backhanded play, comes up throwing to third base and gets you over there, that is a cardinal sin. So Aaron, even though he's frustrated with himself for not being able to advance 90 feet, he did the right thing.
So Chris Owings has now hit safely in 6 straight games. 9 of his last 10, 2 on, 1 out for Jordan Pacheco. Maikel Franco smothers that one and takes a base hit away from Pacheco. The rookie having himself an afternoon here. And we've seen why they like him a lot.
One of the harder hit balls of the day for the Diamondbacks offensively, and Franco right there to take it away. That looked like a base hit into left field, possibly a run scored, but Franco ranging to his left snared that ball.
So it's up to Cliff Pennington, who hits for J.C. Ramirez. Penny at 158 on the year. And 3 for his last 25 at the plate. The hits have been hard to come by lately. So have the at-bats. Cliff only 28 plate appearances over his last 15 games, just 4 starts. That's not a play. A ball and 2 strikes. Phillies looking for their 5th straight win in the series sweep. They're a strike away. Two and two. Well, you're looking for base runners here. And if Penny can find a way to get on with a full count, that brings up the top of the order. And then you're talking Inciarte, Trumbo, Goldie, Pollock, Tomas.
I would imagine before we get that far into the order, we'll see Jonathan Papelbon warming up in that Phillies bullpen.
For the moment, it's quiet out there. 2 outs, 3 and 2 to Pennington. Here go the runners. A reminder, cup of coffee with Tony La Russa follows our ball game, immediately following the ball game on our 10th inning program. Runners will be off of the pitch one more time. The bases are loaded. So Cliff Pennington draws the 2-out walk to load him up for Ender Inciarte. Phillies bullpen starts to stir.
Cameron Rupp out there to the mound to stall for a little bit of time to give that bullpen a chance to throw a few more warm-up pitches. It is Jonathan Papelbon just now beginning to throw.
Well, people in Philadelphia would really be unhappy if it's Ender Inciarte, who was a Philly for about 10 minutes a couple of years ago. Makes this a close ball game. Bob McClure, the pitching coach, as he so often has this weekend, going out to stop the game. A long, slow walk out there to give Papelbon more time. You've got Inciarte, bases loaded, 2 outs. Trumbo and Goldie behind him. As Gomez came in with a 6-0 lead, but he's loaded the bases with 2 outs. And of course, Jonathan Papelbon, not that he's rooting against the Phillies or his teammate, but there is a contract option in play here that is based on the number of games he finishes. So every little bit helps. Which is why they haven't traded him, because anybody that acquires him, obviously going to use him as the closer. That means he finishes a lot of games for you. That means the extra contract option year kicks in, so it gets more expensive. Bases loaded, 2 down for Inciarte. There's a strike, 1-1. Ender today hitless. He has struck out his last 2 times, though.
The line moving, find a way to get on there. Next 2 guys due up for the Diamondbacks, both capable of hitting the ball way out of this ballpark.
Trumbo and Goldie behind him. In the hole, Hernandez at short. They go the short way for the force on Pennington, and the Phillies win the ball game and sweep the series. Chip Hale is saying hold the phone a minute here. Close play at second base. All the umpires are telling the Phillies to remain on the field.
I think now they've seen the replay and they've waved off an appeal.
And so that's your final. Diamondbacks lose here 6-0. They are swept in 3 at Citizens Bank Park. Shut out for the 4th time this year. The 10th time in 36 games they have scored 1 or no runs.
Well, hopefully a trip down south will do the Diamondbacks some good. Just couldn't get anything going today. Very few hard hit balls in this game for the offense.
6-11-0 for the Phillies, 0-8-1 for the Diamondbacks. So Sullivan wins it, Comenter loses in front of 22,000. It took 2 hours and 52 minutes. A reminder, the 10th inning is next. It's the Cup of Coffee show with Tony La Russa, the debut episode. And the Diamondbacks will head to Miami, having lost 4 straight, 7 of their last 9, now 6 under 500. We'll look for answers next. It's the 10th inning. Cup of Coffee starring Tony La Russa starts now.